So, today's gonna be a bit of a different kind of video. I'm gonna be talking about game dev from a beginner's perspective. I've seen a lot of tutorials around, which are either like, hey, do this and this and this, and then when you do it, you don't actually understand what's going on in the tutorial at all. You just copy and paste. I think that's what they call tutorial hell. And so that and even things like, how to get into the mindset, like how to get into the headspace of someone who makes games. Like, even those videos are kind of hard to decipher because, I think there's like a disconnect between the actual beginners and the pros in like basically anything. This goes with anything, but game dev is the example now. But anyway, I'm gonna be splitting this video into a few segments. First of all, there's the intro, which you just saw, and then there's the rant, and then there might be something like advice towards the end. Also, sorry in advance, my thoughts will sound really messy. So one day I decided to just learn C sharp, and I did. I learned C sharp, and then a few days after that, I moved to Unity because I've always wanted to do game dev. That is a thing I've always wanted to do. So I went and downloaded Unity. I opened it, I looked at it, and I think, what the fuck is going on? Because you just there's just so much stuff going on, and nobody explains what anything means. That's the thing I hate. There's like, maybe I'm missing something, alright? When I open Unity, uh, I open a script. It could be something as simple as a movement script, right? And nothing makes sense. Even if I ask like Gemini to explain, hey man, what does this actually mean? And then Gemini tells me what it means, and then I'm like, okay, so let's think about like this script right here. Is our script supposed to be made like this so that you basically copy everything and you don't do anything yourself? See, I think that's a big disconnect between the beginners and the pros, and it's that the pros really know how it's like to be in that, headspace of a game dev. The beginners don't. So when people like me start game dev, I really don't know how I should feel. Like, that is one thing I feel every tutorial and every advice video kinda lacks. Well, I haven't seen any yet, so there might be some, but I still haven't seen any because I would love to hear from a pro like how they felt when they started and what their learning curve was like. That would be really helpful because me, uh, when I do game dev, like coding in Unity, I really want to know what's happening in the code. But there are so many Unity created things in that code that it's like with every question comes another question. Like, if I ask Gemini, what does this mean? Gemini tells me, yeah, that's what it means. And then there appears more questions in that answer. So it's just that is just a really like annoying loop I've never gotten out of. Where like I want to understand certain things, right? But like there's just too much to even start. Even something as simple as a movement script cannot be easy with Unity because there's like things like mono behavior, vector 2 or vector 3. You got all these things going on you gotta understand. So it's a really like hard learning curve. What I would really love to hear from like the pros is like how you felt when you started. Did you feel frustrated? How long did it take for you to understand like what's actually going on? And how do you learn? Is it through trial and error? See, but there is a good example of me learning something through trial and error. And that was when I was in Godot and I basically had the jump and movement scripts ready because Godot has them ready for you usually. So I had this like bug where if you like fall off an edge in that 2D space, then you could still jump afterwards. And so I fixed that completely by myself. Like I didn't ask any help other than like, can you put two different things in a condition? That's like the only thing I asked. Because yes, I'm that much of a beginner. Okay? So I fixed that entirely by myself and the feeling I got from that. Like that was like one of the best things in a while that I've felt. I really like that. But then again, uh, there might be the problem that I don't really want to do that many smaller projects. Like, I have one big project in my mind, which I really just want to do. But I also want to, write my own code and understand what things actually mean. But I'm not sure if that's really possible because well, I'm really bad at it. Like I'm actually a beginner compared to beginners. So, but then again, I feel like I really shouldn't be, dissatisfied with this because it's something I like doing. But maybe I've got the idea of game dev wrong. Maybe it's not supposed to be, create your own code from scratch and, that stuff. I would really like to be able to do that because it would be really cool. You know, you just look at a blank sheet and then you just start writing your own code, and in a few, maybe an hour or something, it starts looking pretty cool. So that's what I'd love to do, but I don't think that's realistic. Like, I don't think that is what it should be like. But then I really can't shake the feeling off that it's unauthentic when I ask AI or something like that. I really hate that. But then again, I think that if I just keep going, like if I just keep doing stuff, if I keep testing, if I keep building, if I keep scripting, that eventually I'm just gonna understand what's going on. But it's not quite so clear when you try tutorials. They don't tell you like how the learning curve for them, for like the pros, how did it go for the pros? They don't tell you that. Or if they tell, it's like in a very alien way, which is like why I'm even making this video in the first place. Now, I get it. It's not supposed to be the easiest thing in the world. Alright? It's not supposed to be something that holds your hand when you do it. It's supposed to be, because it is, at the end of the day, I think everything like game dev, drawing, music, it's all about passion. And that usually is not easy. Same thing goes with game dev. You probably really just gotta learn how to do stuff. Now, does it take a lot of time? Uh, I don't know. I really don't know. I've been doing this for like maybe 2 weeks, maybe three. It's not really the longest time, maybe. So I really don't know what the timeline would look like for most people. Like that's the thing with if you learn like things at school, that's a lot different because you do it over a period of time. It's like scheduled, structured, and you have everything. You don't really have to ask about everything in there. Like it because it's made to be, easier for you. as in you just follow what they teach and say, and you just that's how you learn. But this is the issue here, that the game dev thing isn't really like something structured when you want to learn it. Like at least for me, I have not seen any like schools for game dev. So it's really difficult for someone who's like me and has difficulties learning different things unless they're like something I'm really interested in, or maybe like something that isn't too complicated. But what I'm trying to say here is that you really just have to have motivation to keep going for a really long time here. And when your interests are capricious like mine, that might not be the easiest thing in the world. Because one second I might want to code, another second I might want to play, another second I want to sleep, then that's like, it stunts the learning because the learning takes a really long time and you gotta, take your time with it. That's what I'm just whining about here, is that it's not easy, And I don't really have any game dev friends to ask from. So I really just don't like I'm really just doing this by myself with the help of maybe some tutorials, and you know I still have some things I can teach, which is that feeling I still got from the trial and error Godot thing. That was one of my favorite things ever. So really, that I think should be something more people should be doing when they learn, is that you just try. You try and you fail and you learn. You fuck up the code completely, then you look at it and you're like, bro, this does not work. Then you fix it and then you look, oh, okay, so this is how we fix it and now it works. So that's how it works. I think that would be my only advice here, because I'm not really like at liberty to say, you know, all the pro things, because I'm not a pro. Uh, I'm just a guy who started just a few weeks ago. But yeah, the attitude you gotta take is that. And also, you just gotta have the motivation to start and continue. Usually I don't have motivation for things like that. As with this channel, like last video was from last year, I think. And when my interests are really like random and they just change a lot, it means that the same things might not interest me anymore. And so, yeah. But yeah, that's basically a beginner's perspective on this game dev thing. If you're a pro and you have advice for me or maybe others, go ahead and put that in the comments, because I would love to see that. And if you're a fellow beginner like me, then you can also just, share your experiences, because I'm really interested in seeing how other people do it. But yeah, thanks for watching the video, and you might see me again soon. Or maybe not. We'll see. But yeah, thanks for watching the video, and bye bye.